Hey guys, I'm cmasupra and welcome to another War Thunder video with my face instead of War Thunder. So most of you watching this video will have seen a lot of my other War Thunder videos, and you've seen me play arcade battles, you've seen me play historical battles. How about a change? How about a full real battle? Oh yeah. Yeah, I spent all day flying a bunch of full real battles, and I gotta say I'm actually getting pretty good at this. So before we get into the video, I do want to say that this video is going to be a really long one. The game was about 51 minutes, and I have elected not to fast forward or cut out any parts because I want you guys to get the full real battle experience. So it's a very long video, so if you would like to eat snacks while you watch long videos or short movies, then go get your snacks and then come back and watch this video. I know that's what I would be doing if I saw this video in my sub box because full real battles are awesome. And it's also a long video by my favorite YouTuber, myself. So, I assume you are back now with snacks if you want some, and we can see that we are taking off just like everybody else is, but this teammate, oh my god, I almost crashed into him. That would have been a terrible way to end a full real battle, especially because it costs a ton to repair these planes. I actually bought the Lag 366 specifically for today doing all these full real battles because I was paying so many lions to fix this plane that I'm flying right here, which I will name later. But I was spending so many lions fixing it that I was just like, screw this, I'm going to use a plane that I have free repairs on. And so I bought the Lag 366, which I'd actually already bought, but I had not put in any crew slot. So I put it in a crew slot, and then the battles after the first few that I flew today, I flew the Lag 366 for free, so all my deaths were free. Anyways, in this video, I'm going to be flying the Yak 1B, and I gotta say I do really like this more than the Lag 366 in full real battle because you can't see it here, but if you look behind you, there's glass there. There's not a wall that you can't see through. There's glass. You can see behind yourself easily. I really like that about this plane because something I've noticed in full real battles is that I suck at spotting enemy planes, and as a result, by the time I spot them, they're usually on my tail shooting at me, and that's how I spot them. So, the fact that I can see behind me is actually going to help me quite a bit with this plane versus the Lag 366 because I can see them before they start shooting at me and send tracers over my windshield. So, I gotta say I do like this plane more. Not really sure why I went into a tangent describing whether I prefer the Yak 1B or the Lag 366, but I did. I guess I should go ahead and mention, because I did want to mention this at some point in the beginning of the video, is that because this game is so long, it's about 51 minutes, I am probably going to run out of things to talk about, so this might be more of a quiet, less talky video. I normally try to talk as much as I can in my videos, but this one may not have that happen because it is so long and there's not enough to talk about for 51 minutes. But there is plenty to talk about now, so at the beginning here and probably up until maybe 3/4 of the way done with the video, I'll be talking quite a bit, just like usual. So one thing you may notice is that I am using head tracking software. I am actually not using my mouse to look around. I'm using a head tracking software called FreeTrack No IR. You don't have to build anything for it, you don't need any special equipment, you just use your webcam and position it properly. Mine is not positioned properly, so it doesn't work too well for me, but it works decently enough that I can still fly full real battles pretty well and still track enemies when I find them pretty well, because that's the disadvantage of using the mouse, is you can't steer your plane with the mouse and look around with the mouse at the same time. You have to do one or the other. So tracking an enemy when you find them is quite difficult to do if you don't have a head tracker, if you're going to use your mouse and keyboard to fly, which I am, by the way, in case you didn't notice. The circle that you see on your screen right now, the white one, sort of translucent, is actually the mouse joystick. So if I move the little white dot all the way to the left, I will basically be moving a joystick all the way to the left, and my plane will roll left. It basically works exactly like a joystick, but with the mouse, and if your plane needs you to like constantly steer a little bit to the left, you can easily just put your mouse a little bit to the left and hold it there. Unlike with a joystick where you actually have to use muscles to keep it to the left because it wants to center itself, the mouse does not. So in some ways, flying with the mouse is actually easier than flying with the joystick, but I would have to say joystick users definitely have an advantage in full real battles. The fact that you have to use a little bit of muscle power to hold the joystick in a certain direction is not a big advantage for mouse users at all. So, yeah, I don't know what I was saying before that, but we're gonna move on. One thing I do want to mention is looking at the throttle at the top left, you can see I'm at 74%, and that is because in full real battles, you actually usually don't want 100% throttle unless your plane is just really slow. You don't want to go too far into enemy territory. AAA is extremely strong in full real battles. It's very weak in arcade, as everyone knows. It's okay in historical battles, still pretty good in historical battles. It does shoot down quite a few planes. But in full real battles, it is very, very deadly. So when you're fighting AAA, never make it easy for them to hit you, and... what was I saying? I don't remember what I was saying. Oh my gosh. Okay, I gotta pause the commentary and see what I was saying. Okay, I know what I was saying. I was saying I have my throttle at 74% because you don't want to go too far into enemy territory, and that's how we got onto AAA. But you also don't want to waste fuel because a lot of the time you're just circling around or doing some pattern in a certain area, and if you have your throttle at 100%, you're basically wasting fuel while looking for enemies. And so you normally don't want to have your throttle at 100%. Here you can see mine is currently at 100%, and that is because I saw a plane, but because this is a full real battle, I can't tell if it's enemy or friendly until I'm up closer, and the game actually tells me if it's enemy or friendly. So I went full throttle, and then I went to the unknown plane, the UFO I guess you can call it, because it is a UFO, unknown flying object. And then I found out it was an enemy, so then I throttled back down to 75%, as you can see. Not 74, but 75 this time. I needed that 1 extra percent of power. Or maybe it was because the game doesn't take throttle too accurately. One of the two. I'll leave you guys to figure that one out. So now I am diving, and that is because I didn't really find enemy planes to shoot at, or I did find an enemy plane to shoot at and they were low. It's one of the two. I don't know what it was. I played so many full real battles today that I don't know what I did in each one, including this one. I mean, I know overall how the end result was in this one and why I want to show you this one as opposed to any of the other ones I played. But I played so many, they all run together. I don't know why I'm doing certain things, like here, am I targeting a ground unit or do I see an enemy plane? I actually don't know as I'm commentating this, so it's anybody's guess. Looks kinda like I'm targeting ground units, but maybe not? I don't know. I keep looking at my map, so maybe I am targeting ground units. Who knows? Oh, okay. I looked at the bottom left, and I saw 37, which is now 36, ground units remaining for the enemy. I was like, oh my god! My teammates are killing ground units left and right! Wow. But no, it's 56. So, right now what I'm doing, I actually know what I'm doing. I am targeting ground units. I apparently didn't find any enemy planes to shoot at, so I went for some ground units to shoot at, and I am trying to shoot at them. I'm also trying to get a decent aim on them, because I am flying the Yak-1B, which has a single machine gun with 200 rounds, and a single cannon with 120 rounds. It does not have very much ammo at all, so you want to spare it as much as you can, because, like I said, you don't have much ammo at all. There was one full real battle I flew today where I was actually shooting at a Stuka, and I had all the ammo I could get in this plane. I had the 200 rounds in the MG, I had the 120 rounds in the cannon, 20 mil cannon by the way, it's 20 mils, and I put most of my shots into the Stuka, but I didn't shoot it down. It got away. Or rather, my teammate shot it down after it got a little bit away from me, because I ran out of ammo. So there's really not much ammo in this thing at all. And as a result, I am trying to be as sparing as I can with my ammo in this, and there is the risk that if I shoot down a whole bunch of ground targets and use up 3/4 of my ammo, and then I find an enemy, that sucks, because finding an enemy is hard to do in full real battles. If you can't shoot down the enemy because you don't have enough ammo, that's just terrible. It's like you find them, but then you can't do the easy part of actually shooting them down, because finding them is the hardest part, really. I would say that shooting people down is actually kind of easier than finding them. Shooting them down is still difficult, don't get me wrong, but it's easier than finding them because of the way War Thunder's graphics works. Planes are hard to find. I have heard that if you turn down anti-aliasing down to 0, it's actually easier to spot enemy planes, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it would be very much easier, because usually an enemy plane is just a single pixel moving across the screen, and it's the only moving pixel, so you have to recognize that one pixel. It's pretty much how it usually is in a full real battle when you're trying to spot an enemy, so I don't know that anti-aliasing is going to help you there or not, but that's a tip I heard, so if any of you are flying full real battles, then you can try out the tip. I did try out the tip in a battle versus AI planes, and it didn't help me one bit. But they were biplanes because they're AI, and that's all they ever fly. So it may have had something to do with that, because biplanes are kind of hard to spot. They're quite small. Their wings are thin. They're just overall harder to spot. So it didn't help me there, but it may help you in an actual full real battle. I didn't really test it though, because I wanted it to look nice. And I would rather have some fun with a nice looking game than reduce my settings just so I can possibly find people easier. I don't know. Personal preference, really. So as you can see, I am just shooting down a whole bunch of ground targets. You can see I'm checking my map quite often, and in case you don't know, that is because in a full real battle, you can't target an enemy with the middle mouse button, or whatever you use, default middle mouse button. Instead, you just have to find them on the map, and then find them in the actual area on the map. So I'm basically finding my targets on the map that you bring up by pressing M, and then I am trying my best to find a ground target in the actual game to shoot down. So that's what I'm doing here, and as you can see, it's going okay. I don't know how many targets I've killed so far. I do know how many I kill by the end of this game. That's one of two numbers. I believe it's the higher of the two that are in my head. I don't want to spoil it for you, is why I'm not saying it. But there we go. It really doesn't take much at all to shoot down a ground target in full real battles. It's very easy. It's easier than it is in arcade, easier than in historical, and I am sure that is to account for realism, as well as just the fact that it's much harder to fly in a full real battle and actually hit a ground target, because you do have to kind of dive on them. If you come from a flat angle, close to the terrain, it's going to be kind of hard to shoot at a ground target, because you're already so low, and they're even lower than you. They're on the ground, unlike you, who is still in the air. So you have to look down, and then because you're already so low, you're probably just going to crash into the ground. So you do have to come at the ground targets from a high angle, like I am doing in this game, and have been doing. But the sad thing about that is you approach them so fast that it's kind of hard to shoot them. So I am glad that it's easy to shoot down ground targets in historical battles. Not historical, full real battles. This is not historical battles. I would not be flying in the cockpit, nor would I be using mouse or joystick. I'd be using mouse aim, because it is so much easier. Speaking of which, that is another topic I want to talk about. Historical battles. They are not balanced between arcade and full real. They lean heavily towards arcade. If you don't believe me, try flying a full real battle, quite a few of them anyways, and then then you can make your, let me try this again. Go fly a few full real battles and then make a decision on how biased historical battles are. Historical battles are really quite biased towards arcade, and joystick users are actually at quite a disadvantage even in historical battles. I mean, they're obviously at a huge disadvantage in arcade, but in historical, they're still at a disadvantage. So, yeah, there's that. So historical battles are not good training for full wheel battles. I mean, you can fly a few, get used to historical battles, but like in terms of actually flying the plane and finding targets and not getting shot by AAA, dodging AAA, historical battles are not a good practice. They're good for getting used to having limited ammo and having to, I guess, pick your battles wisely because you only have one plane. But really, outside of that, historical battles are not good training for full-wheel battles. Full-wheel battles are good training for full-wheel battles. And if you want training for free, I recommend you do an AI game, or a game against the AI. You just do a custom battle in the missions thing or something. I don't know where it was, but I know it's somewhere. It's not in the multiplayer standard stuff, it's in the menu. I don't know. You can figure out how to make an AI game. It's not too difficult to figure out. You do have to do a little bit of exploring to find it, but it's not too hard. So looking at the bottom left of this game, the number of enemy ground units remaining is 49, the number of friendly ones is 61, so clearly a lot of my team is targeting ground units, and as you will see next time I look at the scoreboard, that is actually quite the case. We've killed quite a few ground units, the opponents have not, and that's just an indication of how the opponents seem to be hiding, or something like that, because we're not really killing enemies. I mean, how many plane kills have you seen in the bottom right corner of this video while I've been talking? I haven't seen any, but of course I'm sure there's been some. I don't watch the video as I'm thinking. My eyes go to the side and let me look into my brain as I think. But yeah, there's not many plane kills going on, so it's mostly killing ground targets, and that's basically what this video is going to be. There will be some dogfighting though, so it's not just killing ground targets. No, I'm not going to spoil it for you. I'm just going to say there will be some ground fighting. So I've now killed 6 ground targets, and obviously, as I mentioned much earlier in this video, I don't want to run out of ammo and then find a plane to shoot at because, like I said earlier in the video, finding a plane is probably the hardest thing in a full real battle. Finding an enemy to shoot at is the hardest thing in a full real battle. So I decided to, after the 6 ground targets, just go back to base and rearm in case I find an enemy plane. Wow, the number of enemy planes remaining is very low compared to the number of planes we have. I think they had 3, 3 or 4, so they don't have very many planes left. So I decided to go back to base and rearm, and that way I'll have full ammo. I have been hit a few times by AAA, but it hasn't done any serious damage. The plane is still flying perfectly fine. But in terms of the game, as far as it's concerned, I have taken damage, and so when I get repaired, I will be teleported to the end of the runway, so that is going to be awesome, because in full battles you obviously don't want to have to manually steer your plane on the runway. Although there is a trick, you can leave your plane, after you get repaired, you can leave your plane and go back in it. You can actually go back in your plane, even in a full real battle. Full real battle, historical battle, arcade. If your plane is fully repaired, sitting on the runway, you can leave it and go back into it later. So you can do that and then be at the end of the runway. That's a little trick in case you're ever landing in a historical battle or a full real battle and you don't have to be repaired. Because if you don't have to be repaired, the game won't teleport you to the end of the runway to take off. It'll only rearm you and just leave you sitting there wherever you landed. Which I don't like, but it's how the game works. So, what else can I talk about? Landing in a full real battle. Ooh, landing. Some people say this is one of the hardest parts of a full real battle. I would say that it's not hard at all once you get it, because it's basically the same in every plane. And at the beginning, it's the hardest thing. I know I crashed about 6 times at least. I know 6 is a very precise number, but it was at least 6 times when I was learning to fly a full wheel battle, just in the test flight area in each plane. I crashed at least 6 times trying to land. Takeoffs pretty much went much better. Crashed maybe 1 or 2 times, but landings were difficult at first, but once you understand them, they are actually quite easy to do. So those are not really an issue. So, like I said, I am used to landings now, so the fact that I am going back to base to land is actually not a bad thing for me at all. It's not like it's risky to do it because I might just crash and then, oh no, I had ammo I could have used to shoot at enemy planes, but instead I crashed and then I'm out of the battle. So it's nothing like that. It's not really a risk for me. The hardest part of landing is just finding the airfield. It's kind of sad how that's the hardest part, but it is the hardest part. It's just finding the airfield. As you can see here, I finally found it. I was looking at my map before to try and find it, but here I finally found it. It took me quite a while, and I had to be pretty up close to actually find the thing, but I found it, so we will be landing very shortly. Please buckle your seatbelts and be seated. In the other order, be seated and then buckle your seatbelt. Don't buckle the seatbelt and then be seated on top of your seatbelt. That's useless. Yeah, that'd be useless sitting on your seatbelt. So get seated and then buckle your seatbelt. So here we go, going in for a landing. Gear down, flaps landing, throttle is not at 0%, and that is because when you're landing, you want to land a bit vertically. So you do want a very low airspeed, but you still want some throttle to only lose your airspeed very slowly. You can see I'm not getting much slower. I was slowing down, but I wasn't getting much slower. And we have successfully touched down. I apparently have bounced, which is just fine. The plane does not mind that at all, and I have yet to find a single plane that has minded it in a full real battle, in test flights and actual full real battles, so feel free to just bounce. But as I was saying, you do want some vertical speed when you're landing as opposed to horizontal speed, because if your horizontal speed is like 200, which is enough to keep you in the air without losing much altitude, you're going to have a tough time landing because you're going to have so much lift under your wings that your wings, when you're get the words out, when your landing gear hit the ground, you want to slow down, obviously, but you're at 200 miles an hour, or kilometers an hour. And so when you're braking, how do I explain this? Your rear wheel is not going to be touching the ground, and as a result, if you start braking at 200 kilometers an hour, your nose is going to go into the ground. So what you want to do is land at a slower speed where your wings don't have much lift and your back wheel is on the ground because your wings don't have much lift, so you're not being lifted up. And the way you do that is you have more vertical speed than you would have had if you're doing more of a horizontal landing, which is, you do want the more vertical speed, definitely. So anyways, we have been repaired and rearmed. We are not taking off. It really does not take much time at all to get repaired and rearmed. I am actually quite surprised how short the time is, but we have successfully taken off, gear up, flaps raised, of course. One thing to note is in a full real battle, you do have to manually put your flaps in takeoff if your plane has takeoff flaps. It does not do it for you. In historical, it does do it for you, but not in a full real battle. You have full control over your plane. There is no automation. You can even see at the top left, when I get out of this map view, there is no instructor text there, red or gray. So there is no automation at all in this game mode. So it looks like neither side has very many planes remaining. I just said bravo, or well done, basically, to somebody. I don't know what happened there. Maybe he shot down somebody. I don't know. Maybe he got shot down. Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but I said bravo to somebody. So anyways, I have successfully taken off twice now, and I've also landed, and I've also shot down ground targets. So as you can see, I am doing pretty decently for using a mouse and keyboard in a full real battle so far. So it's entirely possible to use a mouse and keyboard in a full real battle. I've even said that I was shooting down a Stuka. I got a ton of hits on it. Sadly, I ran out of ammo that time, so I wasn't able to get the kill, which would have been my first air kill. Yeah, it would have been my first air kill that, and I was shooting at that Stuka, but I ran out of ammo, and I didn't get the kill. But the reason I was saying that was it is entirely possible to do a full real battle with the mouse and keyboard. I know a lot of you have found me because of my full real battle with a mouse and keyboard video. Like, I have a video called Full Real Battle with Mouse and Keyboard, which is really just a fail at taking off. I don't even get off the ground, really, in that video. I know a lot of you found me from that. That was more of a funny video. I knew I was going to fail because I had never done a full real battle before, not even in test flight. This video, however, like I said, I've done tons of test flights. I've done flights against the AI. I flew a whole bunch of full real battles today, at least 10. So I was definitely used to the controls at this point and knew how to fly a plane. So it's entirely possible. It just takes some practice, and I highly recommend you don't do the practice in an actual full real battle because you will pay for it in repairs. Unless you use a plane that has free repairs, which I did for most of today. But not for this particular game. I used the Yak 1B, which I have 0 free repairs for, so I have paid to fix this plane quite a few times today. And then I realized I should use a free plane. So we are getting back to the enemy airfield. I am flying between the enemy ground units and my ground units, and the reason for that is I'm looking for my ground units to start firing at enemy aircraft. So I'm waiting for my AAA to start firing, and that actually helps quite a bit in spotting enemies. If you see your AAA shooting at enemies or up in the sky anywhere, that's a good sign enemies are there. There might also be teammates there, so don't go shooting at any plane you see in the area, but it's a good sign that there's enemies there. And so you can go over there where the AAA is shooting at and try to find the plane, because obviously the AAA is not going to be too precise, so you do have to still kind of find the plane. But that's a good way to find enemy planes, and that is a good tip for you guys if you're ever flying a full real battle, is just look for friendly AAA shooting at enemy planes, because they can see planes that you cannot see. They have supervision. They probably have radar. That's what they have. They don't have supervision. They have radar. Anyways, what else is there to talk about in this? I don't really know. Fuel level, I always pick 30 minutes of fuel. That's because 20 minutes of fuel is enough to get you out to the airfield, spend maybe 10 minutes there, or not the airfield, out to the battlefield. Spend 10 minutes in the battlefield circling around, finding an enemy, maybe doing a fight, and then going back to the airfield. 20 minutes is not enough. Always go 30 minutes, and usually you don't want more than 30 minutes because within 30 minutes you'll probably have expended your ammo or been shot down or damaged so badly that you have to land or something. You'll basically want to land after 30 minutes minimum. So 30 minutes is all you need in fuel, but you don't want less than that, I would say. Oh my god, I've spotted an enemy plane! Oh yes! And the fact that it did not turn blue when it flew next to me means that it is enemy and not friendly. Oh yes, some dogfighting! Here we go. Trying to use my head tracker to follow him, but my head tracking software is kind of failing me right now. I need to get set up better. I think the issue is lighting. In fact, I know the issue is lighting. But that is not something I can fix right now, so I deal with it. And you obviously do want some form of head tracking in a full real battle if you're going to use your mouse in it. You don't have to use head tracking. I have flown quite a few without head tracking, but I've done rather terribly in it because it's impossible to track enemy planes if you're using your mouse to look around as well as steer your plane, or pilot your plane. So I am in a dogfight with an enemy, and it is a BF-109, I believe. I'm pretty sure it is. So what I'm trying to do here is, because I was so close to the clouds, and I'm not too good in a full real battle at shooting down enemy planes, I was trying to get into the clouds, and as you might be able to tell, I'm not doing a good job of getting into the clouds. Because I can get into the clouds, but I also want to kind of get above the clouds, and I'm not being successful because when you're in the clouds, you don't know where up is, you don't know where down is, you only have your instruments to help you fly. And World War II instruments, at least in this Yak 1B, are not very good. So at the bottom of your screen, the very middle instrument is the instrument that tells me if I'm going left or right in terms of roll, and that really helps you in determining where the ground is. Sadly though, it is a very wobbly instrument in this plane, and as a result, it doesn't really help me. Yeah, it really didn't help me. Actually, was I wrong? Oh my gosh, I just saw a moment there when I was on my right side, the thing was straight up almost. Maybe I'm wrong. I assume it's the thing that tells me if I'm left or right, because it does kind of correspond with that. But I don't know. It's very wobbly, as you can see, and it doesn't really make it easy to know where up and down is. It doesn't react too fast. So I was having a lot of trouble getting into the clouds, so I gotta quit saying so. We'll say instead. Yeah. Worst commentary ever. How about I just sit here and think quietly? So because I'm having so much trouble getting into the clouds, I decided to just stay a little below the clouds and only go up there to hide from the plane when he was behind me. Luckily though, I came down and here he is in front of me. Oh my gosh. Am I gonna get a kill? Am I gonna kill him? That would be absolutely awesome. Because getting a kill in a full wheel battle is quite difficult, and it would be great if I could get one. It appears, however, that I have lost my target, so my head tracking software didn't really help me much there. He was in front of me, and the head tracking software actually couldn't have helped me there, because I lost sight of him. Did I find him again? I saw a black speck in the sky. That may have been him. Or I may just be going back into the clouds, because I don't know where he is, and I don't want him to find me. I don't know. It's one of the two. I'm either chasing him or just going into the clouds to run away from him. One of us is chasing the other one, basically. So, I guess I am just going into the clouds. I have not found him. That was kind of my fault for losing track of him. He was right in front of me, but I did lose track of him, and that is because one of the big downsides to flying this plane in a full reel battle is the fact that the area around the reticle, the aiming reticle, is so thick. Like, those bars are so thick, you really cannot track enemy planes very easily through it. And as a result, it is very hard to track enemy planes in this plane if they are right in front of you. And that's a downside of this plane. I'm gonna go ahead and go compare the Lag 366 and the Yak 1B, this plane, again in this video. So the Yak 1B, this plane, has glass in the back of it, so you can see behind you. That is awesome for this plane. However, the front, as I just mentioned, has thick bars, and as a result it's hard to track an enemy that's in front of you, which is obviously where you want them to be, so you can shoot at them. In the Lag 366, the front is actually very open. There's a couple of thin bars, but there's not too much, so it's easy to track an enemy. And the downside to the Lag 366 is that behind you is a metal plate called your seat rather than glass. So each plane has an advantage and a disadvantage in the front and the back. Sadly, it didn't work out for my favor this time in this plane. I lost track of the enemy. I am amazed that I've actually had things to talk about for this whole video so far. I mean, we're 33 minutes in, which is not exceptionally long for one of my videos. However, I don't know. I'm kind of impressed with myself right now. That's all I'm saying. At how long I've been able to talk. I am currently searching for the enemy, and I can see flak shooting up, and oh, I just heard the enemy. And there he is. Oh yes, I have found you now. Head tracking software is not working. There we go, look up. Oh, where'd the enemy go? Oh, I hear him. He's behind me. I hear him. Oh, I see him. I see him even. Yeah, let's steer the plane while looking at him. This is where head tracking software becomes so awesome. I can steer the plane while I watch the enemy and make sure he cannot hit me. I just want him to run out of ammo, really. That'd be really nice. So, I appear to have lost him once again, but that's because I went into the clouds, which means that he lost me as well. And so that is great. My speed left a lot to be desired. I reached 140 kilometers an hour, and I was not at 100% throttle. I was at 70. I forgot to throttle up, because I'm used to being at 100%. Oop, there he goes, off my left. Now, can I track him? Can I track him? Ooh. I guess I cannot track him, so we're just gonna keep trying to shoot at him. Or try to find him, really. try to get the front of my plane facing him. There we go. That's what we want to happen. That's what I'm trying to do. Where is he? Is he down there? Is that him? No, that was a tracer. Okay. I thought it was him while I was commentating this, as well as when I was playing the game. How interesting. That tracer is very tricky. Twice it has fooled me into thinking it was an enemy plane, but it was just a tracer. That very same tracer, that one bullet, or the one cannon shell, if it came from an AA gun, AAA gun. What's the difference between AAA and AA? I don't know. I don't think there's any difference. Except maybe one's on trucks. I did look it up one time, but there's really no difference between them as far as I'm aware. I know that AAA just stands for something different. Anyways, totally off topic. 20 minutes of fuel left exactly. I am doing decent on fuel. I can dogfight, and then still have plenty of fuel to go back to base. This is why I recommend 30 minutes of fuel. Because I've already spent 10 minutes of fuel, if I had 20 minutes of fuel only on this plane, I might have to abandon this dogfight and sadly end up leaving this guy alive, which would have just sucked. So 30 minutes of fuel, all the way, always, in full real battle and historical battle. And if you ever, here's another tip, if you ever pick the wrong amount of fuel, or you pick the wrong equipment on your plane, or whatever, if you're repaired sitting on the runway, just hold J, leave your plane, then go back into it. I already said that in the video, but this was a bit of a different situation where you can do the exact same trick. That's all it is. So there's a tip for you, because I really have nothing else to talk about at this point in the video, and we are about 3/4 of the way through the video, so it is about the amount of time. It's about the time that I figured I'd have nothing to talk about at this point. That even English? Wow. English no good. My English no good. There we go. Wow, my English is really terrible right now. So I am trying to go back into the clouds. I do still want to get above the clouds, and I'm trying desperately, but it's not working. Look at the altitude at the top left. I am getting higher, but my speed is getting lower, and just watch the altitude at the top left. Just watch it. It'll go up and down as I try so hard to get to the top of the clouds. I'm actually pretty close to the top here, but nope, it appears that the ground is over there. Oh, okay. Well, that's not what I wanted. Oh good, we're climbing again. Awesome. Let's climb all the way up through the clouds. Just watch the altitude at the top left. It just keeps going up and down as I try so hard to get to the top of the clouds. Get out of the rain. Really the water, it's not rain. It's not raining under the clouds, it's just dark. Oh, I want to get above the clouds. Why did I want to get above the clouds? That is a good question. Good question, cmasupra. Let's answer that. Why did I want to get above the clouds? I don't have a clue. I don't remember. I do not remember why I wanted to be above the clouds. I think it may have been to run away from the guy who was shooting at me, the BF-109, because I was having so much trouble tracking him. I was just like, let's get away from him. And so maybe that was why. I don't really know why I wanted to get above the clouds, but I did, and that's that. So, what else is there to talk about? I don't really know. You guys should give me topics. Give me topics as I'm recording this video, and then I'll go back and make the video all over again and re-commentate it. Yeah. Great idea. That's the advantage of live streams, but I don't make videos in live streams. That'd be an interesting live stream. A live stream of me making a video. That'd be an interesting live stream. I could totally do it. Like, my computer's totally capable of doing that. But that'd be a very interesting live stream. You'd also get to see a bunch of fails. Most of my videos, I try maybe 3 or 4 times at the intro just to get it right. Like, I'll have voice cracks or I'll say the wrong thing or something. I always try to get the intro just right. Sometimes I don't and I just give up, but I usually try to get it just right. So if you watched me make a video, you'd see quite a few fails for intros as well. So I did hear a plane go by me, or did I not? I thought I heard it. As I was explaining the live stream thing, I thought I heard a plane go by my right ear. Apparently not, because I'm not looking around for it, so either that or I just didn't care. I was like, let's just get into the clouds. I don't care where he is, I want in the clouds. One of the two. I don't know. Maybe I'm going crazy and just hearing plane sounds because I've played Full Battles all day. Who knows? Looking around, looking for the enemy. This is actually a great altitude to be at looking for enemies because they will appear as black dots against the white sky and the not so black clouds and the not so black ground. So this is actually a pretty great altitude to be at. Now if the enemy is quite low to the ground, I'm not going to be able to see them at all. They won't even be a single pixel big. They'll be smaller than a pixel. So in terms of finding enemies on the ground, not so good. In terms of finding enemies in the air, it's decent. I am being shot at now, from behind by the BF-109. Sounds like a BF-109, looks like a BF-109, it must be a BF-109. So I quickly went back into the clouds, he no longer sees me, and now I'm diving out of the clouds because I just failed at staying in the clouds. I cannot fly using instruments in this plane. And I'm looking for him, because obviously he saw me, he shot at me, and I was not in the clouds for very long, so I know he's somewhere in the area. He might be in the clouds himself. He might be lower, and I just can't see him against the ground. I don't know where he is, but I am looking desperately to try and find him, because I do want to shoot him down. I obviously want to shoot down this BF-109, that would be great. However, I'm not able to find him, so that is that. Some IL-2 just got a ground streak times 11. He is apparently doing quite a number on the ground targets. One full real battle I flew, there was an SB2M on my team who got 32 ground kills. That's most, if at least half the units that an average full real battle has. So he got quite a few ground kills, an SB2. Yeah, he liked the plane a lot. Speaking of which, in that particular game, totally unrelated to this one, actually kind of related, but not really, my team and the enemy team actually had a very nice chat. When a lot of us were shot down, a lot of us happened to stay in the game and watch the other people fly, and we had a nice chat, and it was totally mature, and it was just overall a good chat about the game, about planes. Great chat, and I want to mention that because the full real battle community, at least the people who fly in full real battles, are actually very nice, and a lot of them speak English. It's not just a whole bunch of Russians or non-English speaking Europeans. A lot of them speak English, and they are very nice. They compliment each other. They're just overall very nice. I just wanted to mention that. I don't know why, but I wanted to mention that because they are nice, I guess that'd be why. But hello, BF-109, you managed to get a hit on me. Doesn't appear to have done any damage. Speaking of which, I will never see a damage indicator on the left side of the screen in a full real battle, so don't be looking for that. It will never be there. It's up to you to determine what damage you have, and based on how your plane flies, based on what you can see, stuff like that. It is entirely possible that your plane will lose, I don't know, something to make it go spiraling out of control, and it doesn't actually show you that damage at all because it doesn't show you any damage to your plane. It just shows whatever you can physically see on your plane. Hello, plane who is chasing me. I am trying so hard to get away from him. He is a BF-109. I know I can turn faster than him. My turn time is 18 seconds. His is something more like 24, so I can definitely outturn the guy. It's just a matter of actually doing that while keeping track of him, and then eventually getting on his tail to shoot at him. It's quite difficult to do. Oh shoot, he just hit me behind. Oh, that did a lot of damage. Look at the left wing. Oh, that left wing is totally damaged. I'm using full right aileron, trying so hard not to spin to the left. Oh, I'm in a terrible shape now. And as you can see at the left side of the screen, there is no damage indicator. Oh, I'm having trouble even staying horizontal. Oh, this is going terribly for me now. Having those holes in my left wing is not making this easy. So at this point I was just like, well, I am so damaged, let's get low to the ground, let's get away, let's get to the airfield and go get repaired. So I dive down away from the clouds. I check to see if he's chasing me. He is apparently not. I check both left and right side. Quite a bit on the left side, actually. I don't know why. Maybe because the enemy enemy airfield is on that side, so enemies would come from that side. I don't know. But I checked both sides. Always check behind you. He's not chasing me, so great. I can be at this altitude. My plane is flyable. I don't have to use full right aileron to keep level. It's not that bad. It's just halfway to the right. You can see the little dot for the mouse control, mouse joystick, is about halfway to the right side. So I can still turn right if need be by just moving it all the way to the right. And I can still obviously turn left without any effort. Just put the mouse in the middle and it'll turn left for me. The advantage of having a hole in your left wing, the plane will turn left for you. No effort required. So the plane is still flyable, and we're doing okay. He's not chasing us. Let's just get to the airfield. I don't know if I have checked my map to make sure I am going to the airfield and not somewhere else. I know there was one historical battle I flew, possibly this one, where I was going back to the airfield, and it turns out I was actually going 90 degrees away from the airfield, at a right angle in the wrong direction. At least in this game I am going to the airfield, so that is good. I am actually going to the airfield, as you could see by the map. Looking at the scoreboard, which has disappeared, I had 6 ground kills, so that's all I've done so far, which is actually quite a bit in a full real battle. Getting 6 ground kills is not as easy as it might seem. It's quite difficult to get your plane aimed specifically at the ground target without crashing and without wasting too much ammo. So 6 ground kills is pretty good, especially in a fighter. But I am going back to base, so we'll have to see what happens next. And here's the point where I run out of things to talk about, so I just stay silent and slowly become quieter, so you don't realize that I'm becoming quieter and stop talking, even though now that I mentioned it, you're fully aware of it. Anyways, I should come up with things to talk about. We're landing now. I'm going left, I'm going balance, I'm going slightly to the right in terms of rolling. Now I'm going slightly to the left, trying to balance my plane. Let's talk about things more intelligent. So the airfield's somewhere in front of me. Gear down, flaps landing. I have spotted the airfield. I know where it is. And like I said earlier in the video, you do want to do a vertical landing rather than a horizontal landing. But as you can see, since I put the landing gear down and flaps down to landing, the plane just wanted to lurch left. I could not get it to stay flat. So I immediately did gear up, flaps raised, 100% throttle. Let's get out of here, cancel the landing, abort the landing, and do a go-around, as it is called, where you literally go back around the airfield and try to land again. So that's exactly what I'm going to do here. A Yak 9T flying under me. I am glad the game spots friendly planes for you so you don't crash into them, and you don't accidentally shoot them as well, because you really can't tell an enemy plane versus a friendly plane unless you're really, really close. And at that point, you're probably within shooting range, and you might have already even shot at them. And if they're friendly, that's not good. I am glad the game spots friendlies for you. Keeps people from getting mad about friendly fire. But like I said, doing a go-around on the airfield, and we're once again going to try and land, but this time more vertically, and possibly with a little more speed, so that my left wing doesn't stall, which is possibly what happened there. I don't know, but it's possibly what happened because it does have a hole in it, so it doesn't have as much lift. And a plane without lift, or a wing without lift, will stall. Simple as that. So we're going to do a go-round and get it far enough away from the airfield so I have enough time to get prepared, get balanced, stay flat, and if there's any problems in terms of putting the landing gear down and putting landing flaps again, and my plane rolling to the left, then I will have enough time to once again do another go-around to possibly not even land, which is obviously an option because I do have 12 minutes of fuel, and I can run on less than 100% throttle. I can run about 60% throttle and be fine, circling the airfield, waiting for the game to end without crashing and thus having to pay the repair cost. So if I do have to just not land, that is entirely a possibility. I don't know how much time is left in this game. I mean, I do know how much time is left in the video because I can see it on my timer. because I have two screens. I can watch the video in one screen and watch the timer in the other one, or the trimmer, I guess it's called, in the video editing software. So I do know how much time is left in the video, but I don't know how much time is left in the game. You can see it every time I go to the scoreboard or the map, but I'm sure 12 minutes of fuel is enough to stay afloat for the whole game, the rest of the game, because there couldn't be that much left. This has been quite a long game so far already, about 50 minutes in, so there can't be more than 10 minutes left, which is more than 12, and obviously because I've run it at less than 100% throttle, usually, 12 minutes is plenty of fuel. So as you can see, I had to cancel the landing once again, and that is because there was an SB2M who wanted to land, and I was just like, well, maybe I should just let him land. He doesn't know I'm back here, I know he's there, I should just let him land so he doesn't crash into me and I crash into him. Just let him land, then I'll land later. He can probably also do more damage to the enemy than I can because I'm kind of disabled here, so let him land, let him get repaired and rearmed, and then go shoot down enemies or ground targets or whatever, and then I will do my landing after his, because he will be more useful. So, lining up on the runway once again, using the map still, even using my head tracker to find the airfield, because I can still steer the plane, or pilot the plane without my mouse. No, I use my mouse for it. I can still pilot the plane while looking around, which is something you cannot do if you use the mouse to look around and holding down C. So I am coming in quite high here, and oh, hostile team lost all its aircraft. Oh, no landing, which is actually a good thing. I was quite happy when I saw that. I was like, yes, I don't have to try and land in this triple Yak 1B, missing a wing practically. So that was awesome. That was a nice full reel battle, one of the better ones that I've flown. I will say that now that this is over, I have yet to get a single air kill against an actual enemy player. I've killed one AI, only one AI, in all the AI games I've flown, but I have yet to kill a single player. So this game was not the game where I got my first air kill, but I did get 6 ground kills, which is pretty good. So I decided to show this video to you guys. 7,000 lions, which is not much for a full reel battle. Usually you get at least 50,000, but I didn't do much, so there is that. Maybe not 50,000, that was an exaggeration. Maybe more like 20,000 minimum, because shooting down a plane is worth quite a lot in a full reel battle. Anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. My first full reel battle video other than the full reel battle with a mouse and keyboard video, because that one was more of a fail compilation. Yeah, I will be making more of these, because full reel battles are awesome and I'm getting good at them. I've even almost shot down a plane, but I ran out of ammo that one time. That was so annoying on that Stuka. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.